All right. It's in recording. So another warning, the project this is the big project, which is 25%. The link is actually in week 9, okay? It's due on 24th January midnight, okay? Which is before 12 a.m. Okay, this is a very specific notification to everybody. Okay, all right. Now the class starts. Okay, I am starting now. If you can't hear, please say so. Okay. All right. We were talking about, this is the last topic today, and this is the last for this sem. This is my last class with you. I'm sure you're not going to miss me too much. Yep. After all these topics that I've put you through, so you may not be too happy to see me again, but you will see me in the coming sem in engineering ethics, unfortunately. And I will be taking you for the first 7 weeks for engineering ethics next sem, okay? And of course, you see me a lot doing IDP as well. And because I'm taking you for the first half of next sem, so any questions on IDP as usual, I will also answer you there during the engineering ethics class, okay? I hope you guys are doing well for your assignments for the project because it's 25%. It's not a joke, okay? I mean, don't take it easy because 25% is a lot of marks, you know. You need to pull a lot of things to get 25%, you know. So it's just not going to be a 5-page assignments and you think that you can get 25%, you see. So make sure that you have a proper report all formatted up nicely and all that and hand it in on time. If you do need any extra time, you have to email me separately and just check. This time only one group needs to hand in one. So I don't think it's necessary. Just the group leader will do. Okay. I only need to see, yeah, 60 over. I mean, like there's 100 of you, so there's going to be about 20 over assignments. So I expect some of you to do. I mean, it's not nice to actually not have you hand in, like, but I don't want a duplicate, you know, of the assignments. Otherwise, the files will be so big, you know. Can we all do this? Like, the group leader will be allocated to hand in the assignments via your own account. Can we do that? Just via your own account. So let's say Amanda is a group project leader. So Amanda will hand in the full assignments, but the rest of you, the rest of the group member, can you just also upload your cover page with all your group members' name on it? So that I know that, you know, I don't want to overload the unit systems as well, you know, because it's the same thing. And yeah, I just think we need to book out and then I know that, oh, this is, you know, like this person. This is also for me to detect anyone who just don't hand in their assignments at all, you know, because there's issues with the last assignment. You know, one guy think that the partner hand in and the other guy think that his partner hand in and nobody hand in at the end of the day, you see. So I just want to make sure that everybody is do understand that you have a due date here, okay, and then at least upload your assignment page, the cover page. Can we do that? Okay, so group leader for the project, hand in full assignment, okay, and group member hand in cover page with title and all your members' name, okay? The usual, the the usual cover page lah, with my name, your group member's name, title, topics, and also the subject's name and code and all that, the usual thing, okay? All right, so this is to clear, so no need to hand if you do end up handing in everything, I'm also fine. I mean, like somebody forgot and then they just hand in the assignment, so it's also fine. But it's just that I prefer you to just have one person handing in the full assignments, okay? Any questions so far?
No.
Yes, Asri, yeah. Yes, Asri, you go ahead first.
Sorry, Doctor, I focus on you. Sorry.
Sorry? No question, huh? Okay. Richard,
No,
you
no.
have any question? Richard, I saw you want to speak just now.
No, I was just commenting on the submission. You asked us whether we understood or not. I said yes.
Okay, yeah, okay, good. So you do understand, okay? Right, okay. So now let's start to go back to our slides and all that. Share the content. So this is the last class last week, and I'll be giving you some exam tips at the end of the class, okay? And mainly on how the structure of the exams will be, okay? Let me share my screen. Oh, oops, wait. Start program. Okay, let me put up my handy drive. The files is in my handy drive. It's my own files. Okay, yeah, I think I didn't say. Where is it? Where's my own files? Never mind. All right, so we went through all these things about economic rationality. Everything is about dollars and cents, honestly speaking. Okay? So in the economic appraisal, what we're doing is we're trying to analyze the economically rational decision whether to choose which project to go ahead and in what form, in what mode, and all that. There's a lot of choices in life, and same goes with project, and especially when you're dealing with multi-million dollars in every project, mostly your client will be looking for choices. They will be looking for um, options, so and as engineers, a big part of our job is to actually analyze the situation or the characteristic of the project, and to understand how things are like based on the project team's strength, based on the expertise that you have, based on the site itself, based on the location itself, based on um, the um, the site locality characteristic, based on the preliminary technical studies, based on your PDA test. There's a lot of situation. I mean, like the project itself is actually like a character by itself. Where exactly is it situated? Is it near the river? Is it near the sea? Is it near coastal? Is it near? Is it in the inner land? You know, all this will make a lot of difference in terms of the choices that you're going to put up for your project, you know. So you have to really understand the project environment. The project environment is not environmental, you know. It's actually environment, where the projects are, what the soil is like, any high, low lands, you know, any flooding previously in the areas, you know. There's a lot of things that I can talk about, you know, in terms of project characteristics. And this is just so many. The world is just so different from one location to another location. That's what makes engineering so interesting. You're not doing a dead item. You're not in a factory. You're not gong chang, gong chang, gong chang, in up, in up, in up like that. You're not robots, you know. So there's a lot of room for differences. There's a lot of room for creativity. Actually, if you think about it in terms of problem solution. But of course, we engineers were trained to be very rational, even in terms of economical, rational decision. So economic appraisal is a systematic way of analyzing all the costs and benefits in different ways, you know, to for the options that are available. And there will always be two options, because one of the options is do nothing, you know. That it, you know, sometimes a project may be end up you don't need to do anything, you can't do anything, or you don't want to do anything and don't do anything may be a better option. It's just like, you know, there's a situation where you're quarreling, it's better not to talk, that kind of thing, you know. So again, also economic situation also can be, because if you don't do anything, you don't have a large output of capital. So it may end up to be, you know, don't do anything, because if you do something, the thing that you do may be so expensive that it doesn't solve, it doesn't bring in that value, you know, for the people, you know, who are actually looking for a better return in terms of the capital that they put up, you see. So in essence, we're talking about whether the benefit actually exceeds cost. This is the essence of an appraisal, and essence of an economic appraisal. Okay. And you know which range of option is actually going to give the net benefit, and which option is most cost effective in terms of the benefit will actually um, um, exceed the cost actually. And cost, and here again I have to mention the word economic appraisal is actually quite a big thing, okay. So normally if you have a private client as a private developers, or just a, you know, a small timer, you know, a renovation work, or a small house tear down refurbishment kind of work, you know. Like I said, private as in there are private owners of the land, there are private developers, there are private people who wants to develop houses for themselves, or for you know, for money purpose. I mean, for income purpose, it can be shop lots, it can be for shopping malls, you know. So all these are actually private funder. But when we talk about public funder, is taxpayer, and taxpayers will be linked to government. So government projects and public funding is actually tied down together. And economic appraisal are generally used very closely, more to the public funding. So you will see a lot of economic appraisal, socio-economic appraisal, social studies, environmental studies. All these are actually dealing with more of a public funded project. Why? Because we're using taxpayer money. You need to answer to the taxpayer. Where does my money go? You know, so you cannot have a project that will actually cost exceed benefit, and the government call it worthwhile. You know, it's just not that. You know, and we will query as a developing nation. Okay, not developed yet. Okay, we do, you know, I am like me, I do want my students to be very proactive in asking questions, in checking why, you know, in asking why do you have to spend so much money. So an economic appraisal is very closely related to what the government should actually announce and should actually put it on table and to actually be transparent to the public. Okay, like I've given these examples many times. You know, when I was in Melbourne doing studies 20 over years ago, we do have I mean, when I was in my undergraduate year, there was a big highway we called the Scoresby Freeway. It was a huge highway about ranging from one state to one city, not to say one state, I mean, like it's within the Victoria state, but it's actually within one big city to the other big cities kind of thing. So, you know, like even the whole assessments before the project can actually start the design work, you know, we actually even have to put up, we need to understand, we need to go read up on all the data that has been collected by the independent consultant, and there was about 7 or 8 volumes, okay, volumes that is available in the library, in the transport areas, I mean, in the transport office, in the governmental office, in the public library, in the university's library. There was about, you know, like I think at least 10 to 20 sets floating around in different libraries, which are actually available to the public to actually access those information. And the volumes range from technical feasibility, I mean, technical data that is collected from site, like the soil conditions and current available mode of transport and all that. And then we also study the accessibility of it. And then there was a huge volume on economic appraisal, and there was a volume on social, there's a volume on health, there's a volume on legal, there's a volume on environmental. So all this was actually studied over like at least 2 years kind of thing before the project was actually put on table and said that let's do the design now, okay? And this is economic appraisal is to answer, it's only one of the volume, it's only one thing here to answer to the public where the taxpayer money are going and whether they're paying for something that is worth it and they're paying for something that will actually have benefit that exceeds the cost, okay? So this is how we look at economic appraisal. And economic appraisal, again, emphasize, is actually more on the governmental funding, okay? And we have 2 appraisal here in the economic appraisal that we seriously would like to do, and all the time we do it is because not everything in economic appraisal as a government public funded project can be measured by dollars and cents. Okay, I built a road, it's going to cost me like billions, but what am I getting in return? I cannot get, as an agency, as a government, I cannot expect to collect tolls and make money out of it. You know, I cannot expect my people to pay 2 ringgit every day to drive on that road. So if you talk about return, what is a return for roads? If you build airport, we have what we call travel tax, you know, airport tax, you see. So airport tax will go back to the airport. At least there's some revenue. Water, you do have water utilities, I mean, like billing every month, but that is also very minimum actually. And do you really expect that this pipeline that you built, we're going to make money based on the 10 cents, 20 cents that you're going to collect per liter? You know, like it's going to take forever to even to make money, you know, for a project like that. So for economic appraisal, if we talk about simple dollars and cents, that is the capital outflow, because there's going to be a huge capital outflow. So we are talking about dollars and cents. But if there's any benefit that can come, not only revenue, but in terms of easier maintenance, in terms of less maintenance, in terms of better operation, in terms of savings that you're going to make based on vehicle fuel consumptions and all sort of things, then we can actually do what we call a CBA. So economic appraisal, you can and you should do 2 studies, and one is called CBA, which is a cost benefit analysis, which generally is more in more really in terms of dollars and cents. Everything is in terms of dollars and cents. Okay, so you see, economic appraisal is used to assist, especially government funding. Okay, and then there are other things here that we spoke about, like how to do like when to undertake economic appraisal. These are actually more, like I said, you can see that it's more on government agency funding and all that, okay? So, and there's two studies here that the content here will be CBA and CEA. So CBA, like I mentioned, is more on dollars and cents, and whereby CEA will cover things that are specifically cannot be measured in terms of dollars and cents, and it can come in the area of the benefit and cost can come in the area of health, education, law, order, social welfare, general economy, preservation of history, culture, religion. So all this doesn't have a price tag. Okay, it doesn't have a price tag because it's actually very invaluable, not to say valueless. Okay, it's not valueless, it's actually invaluable. Okay, invaluable means that it's sometimes all these items can be so precious that you really cannot put a price tag on it. Like history, like culture, is actually nation identity. How can you put money in terms of nation identity? Social welfare is about people lifestyles getting better. Okay, education is about having that road will improve children going to school in those rural areas. What kind of price tag can you measure with? Instead of children cannot go to school, you have got like 1,000 students now, or 2,000 or 3,000 students being better educated in the next 20 years. You see, so these are things that is really invaluable. Health, can you measure health? When you're sick, some people can say they can measure health. If one person got cancer, the cost of treatment is about what? Before you die, maybe it's about 1 million. It can be $500,000 to 1 million. So that can be a health kind of value. You can actually put health in CPA if you want to, but general health as in mental health, you cannot put a value. If you build a highway and every day car is running through my house kind of thing, like in front of my house, I'm actually getting very disturbed. My mental health is not, you cannot value it. I may end up having to go to see a shrink, like a psychologist to say that, I've been really disturbed, I'm not used to it. I still remember when I moved into my new house, many years back, there was, because we live quite near the airport, or it's considered as a flight line, kind of thing. And obviously, for us, the government does not do much of a protection in terms of noise, for this sort of utilities and for development. So unfortunately, when I first moved into the house, I actually felt like every time the plane actually fly through my house overhead, I felt like the plane is about to crash into my house. So I would just like jump out from my sleep sometimes. So there is a lot of issues here that if people are really sick because of this sort of reason, then your project will be in a lot of trouble, honestly speaking. So the highway that we are talking about when I was in Melbourne, we have to put up sound barriers. And then not only to put up sound barriers, we have to put up sound barriers that looks good, We cannot just put up a sound barrier with just concrete bricks and mortar and all that. And then people used to have a beautiful view of the mountain and the river, and suddenly it's all covered up by your sound barrier. So being an engineer is not easy, actually. And many years back, when we are building the field highway from Kuching all the way to the airport, that field highway has a lot of beautiful trees that was being cut down. And if this is to happen overseas, I can tell you, those engineers at that particular contractor may be run down, okay, completely run down. And at that time, thank God for these people that the social media wasn't that active yet, you know. If it is, I can tell you, there will be people sitting outside their offices. It will be pasted over Facebook, Instagram, saying that that contractor is actually heartless and no social responsibilities. The engineers are idiots who doesn't know how to preserve the beautiful trees and environmental thing along the freeway. So now we have a very bought up freeway and nobody likes it, okay? And there are some of the issues. And when people are building the airport, the new airport in KLI, there was a lot of huge issues as well. This is because these are not being carefully studied, and that is not being carefully also put forward to the public. And again, it boils down to us, the public, not being very educated in the way to actually voice out our displeasure. You know, if you're in Australia, okay, these things cannot be done. Okay, if you're even in Singapore, these sort of things cannot be done. You know, and in many places now, even like China and Hong Kong and all that, you really get people getting really upset over certain things. You know, so you have to be really careful. Korea, Japan. In Korea, you probably have people strike and picket, and you're going to have cause a huge problem. You know, every weekend with all the policemen coming out and trying to stop these people from picketing and all that. And normally they're very, very peaceful kind of picketing, but it is really very troublesome, and it's going to bring up a lot of bad reputation to your company. So please be very careful when agency as in, we're talking about government agency, TIG, Water Board, JBUB, councils, and all that. As you move in and become a government servant in the future, which I believe at least 30% of you will become government servant, you have to be very careful with all these studies that is, you know, that you should embark on, and people are getting more and more educated. They will look for information like this, you know. So it's not so easy anymore. Okay, so CBA and CEA is together, okay, in economic appraisal. So the guiding principle, of course, is everything that can be put to dollars and cents will be put to dollars and cents. If things that we cannot put to dollars and cents, we have to do a CEA. So this topic, okay, since we're on exam, this sort of topics has come up in exam every year, but every year there will be people who muck it up completely, and I just do not understand why. So now that we have online classes with recording, with lecture that you can go through many times, I don't know why people cannot explain the differences between CBA and CEA. I cannot understand why people cannot explain that economic appraisal is usually done in public funding project, and definitely is done in public funding project to look at whether the benefit is actually more than the cost. And when you do a study like this, if it's talking about dollars and cents, we put it down in CPA. And if we're talking about non-dollars and cents, we're talking about cost effectiveness analysis. So these two analyses is all part of an economic appraisal. Okay? And what do you study in cost CEA? You study law, you study social, economy, education, mental health, you know, all this sort of culture, things that cannot be measured by money. It's a very simple answer, which many people just don't do. I don't even know why. You know, it's like a 5 marks out of a 15 marks thing, and then people just throw away. You know, what is in an economic appraisal? These are common questions. What is the difference between CBA and CEA? That's a very common question. What is the study that is involved in CBA and what is the study that is involved in CEA? People can't answer. Okay? So if I have to put it so obvious to you today, I hope that you all will be able to give me a good answer at the end of the day, okay? So I don't want to be too obvious to say that this is the exam questions, you know, but if you're smart enough and you're not sleeping here, then you should know that, you know, I'm giving you huge tips already, okay? Right. So this is what we talk about in terms of economic appraisal. Let me save the pause. Any questions so far?
So far, no. So CBA is more
Richard, you're
CBA is more to quantifiable components, and
yes,
CEA is more to unquantifiable.
not quantifiable and non-quantifiable in terms of dollars and cents. Okay, not in terms of any other numbers. Anything can be quantifiable if you want to. You can put rubrics, and your health can also become quantifiable. But what we're talking here is CPA is actually quantifiable in terms of money. Okay, just dollars and cents. And CA is non-quantifiable in terms of dollars and cents. So we cannot say that it's quantifiable and non-quantifiable. You have to say quantifiable in terms of dollars and cents. Okay? All right, so I'll off this thing. Okay, and I'll open up other folder. Wait, why is it here? Oh, this is my original file. Oh boy. Okay. So steps and order in preparing an economic appraisal. I don't want to talk too much. You can read through. And what is considered as identifiable costs and identifiable benefits, etc., etc. Calculate the net benefit. These are the steps that you do when this whole part of this lecture up to like part 5, page 8 here. We are all talking about page 8 or 7. This is talking about the steps that is involved when you're doing your economic appraisal. You know, it's at first you identify your options, and after you identify your options, you look at the options in terms of other things as well. You know, like the technical and everything. Then later on, you move in. You talk about the benefit, what sort of the identifiable benefit, and what is the quantifiable and unquantifiable benefit and costs. Okay, and then you identify them and calculate them, and then what is a net? Is it a positive or negative? And then after that, you make a choice in terms of the recommendation of which particular option is actually a better option, and then you put up your recommendation. So that's how we proceed with our economic appraisal. Okay. So yep, that is how we go through it. And then the next thing that I really need to go through with you and very quickly is so let's say if you're doing economic appraisal for government project, but what if it's a private project? Private project, we will generally just call it feasibility studies, and most of it is going to be CBA, which is a cost benefit analysis, and a financial viability analysis. So financial viability analysis, the most important thing that we are looking at here will be the cash flow. So this particular set of notes here is I've gotten it from open universities. As you can see, I've got a lot of notes from different universities because I actually get invited to be speakers for a lot of these universities, Wawasan and Open Uni and Open sometimes Swinburne, that sort of thing. So I do get a lot of their notes, and I think this is really beneficial to the students as well. So to my own students, so I will just take it and give it to you, okay? So here, if you talk about financial viability studies, a lot of things goes to talking about the cash flow. What is the in, what is the out? So what are the things that you consider as coming in, money coming in? That will be the profits, the sales of assets, loans received, capital introduced, decrease in debtors, increase in creditors. So, and then here is the losses, and this is in terms of business, but project is the same as well, okay? So you need to have sufficient funds to actually fund your project. So if your client's cash flow is not so good, you may not get a very smooth and successful project at the end of the day. And that cash flow will also tell you that when the capital will be flowing out, when is the money going to be flowing out, like to pay for the project, and when the money will be coming in from the client, or from the sales, or from the revenue and all that. And you really need to study how long before your project will be paid back, you see. So for private developers and private agencies and private individuals, financial viability is talking about their ability to fund the project, where they're going to get the money from, how much can they put up, how much are they going to loan from the banks and or financial institutions, and then when are they going to make profit, and when the profit comes in, it will help to continuously fund the project at the different stages, okay? So a cash flow, a project cash flow is very important, because you need to show the client how much money that he is going to be outflowing and how much money that he's going to be inflowing from the project. And then the decision will be theirs to make, okay? So you see that cash flow statement, it will show all this, net cash flow, dividends from joint ventures. These are very business kind of cash flow. But in terms of project, ours is more simple. It's more on the profit and also the sufficient cash funds available. So here, this bit here, okay, so for any project, it is important to ensure there's sufficient profit to be made and sufficient cash funds available, and as and when needed. And cash flow diagram tells you when you need it, and that is very important. Okay. Okay, so other things that is on the cash flow diagram is also things like taxation, acquisition, equity, dividends payment, and all that. So this is how a cash flow statement will look like. Okay, this is how a cash flow statement will look like. So basically, cash flow is the movement of money into and out of an account. So normally we will have, this is a cash flow diagram. So for us engineers, our studies, if we talk about dollars and cents in terms of financial viability of the project, it will be these sort of things that you'll be presenting to show the net cash flow for that particular year, whether it's a positive or a negative, so that the agency or the private funders that are actually funding the project, they know what and when to expect, okay? So it's very important, okay? Right. Then when we talk about other analysis in terms of other financial analysis that we have, okay, we are actually looking at other economic tools and other economics tools, okay, for you to calculate your net benefit or cost, okay? So when you talk about net benefit and cost, you need to use calculator. You need to use a calculated method to calculate. You cannot just simply talk. Even though you may be doing CEA in terms of a government project, that CEA needs to be as much as possible quantifiable in terms of the money that you will be putting out. Okay, not only the money, sorry, the project that you're putting out. Okay, so it can be a rubrics that measure, it can be an index that you measure, but it's not to say that it's unquantifiable. It's just not quantifiable in terms of money. Okay, sorry, I'm a bit confused myself. Okay, I'm a bit clear. Sorry. Yeah. So I hope that you're okay with that. So here, when we talk about cost analysis, this is not financial analysis. A financial analysis, we are focusing on cash flow diagram most of the time. So here we talk about the basic principle here. I've already mentioned to you in the last lecture, is time value of money. This is talking about purchasing powers, because inflation will erode the power of money. and money in the bank will earn interest. So time value of money is very closely tied with the word interest rate, okay? So you need to know that when you put money in the bank, you will get a reward. So it's a fraction of a principal designated as a reward to its owner, okay? And there's different type of compound interest, nominal interest, effective interest, and these are terms that you will be using. So to learn about interest, there is a single payment interest, meaning that if you just put the money in the bank at the end of the year, you get how much. But then there is also what we call a compound interest. So interest can be compounded, meaning that the money that you put down, first year you get the interest, you need to put it back, and then you earn a new one, put it back together, you get a new sum, and then this is the compound. If it's a single payment, it's only going to be $12, okay? You take out this $12, it will always be $12. So over 3 years, you only earn $36. But if you are compounding, you're going to be earning your 100 ringgit will be earning 40 ringgit. So that is the power of compound. And people say that compounding will double your money every 7 to 8 years, depending on the interest. Okay, so purchasing power of money, value of money. This is what we have spoke about on Tuesday. So value of money, today's $1 and tomorrow's $1 are different. So all this cost analysis, that calculation of net benefit using net cost or benefit using different tools, the basic principle, the underlying principles are actually interest, and it's actually talking about inflation. It's talking about purchasing power and the value of money. So to put it simply, value of money, which is strongly related to the interest that you put out. Okay, so purchasing power can reduce over time. Money can be made when you put it to a lending institution or an investment, and that money will work and make more money. Okay, so these are the power of interest. Okay, and interest is like a payment of money, of what you put in, okay, previously, and now you're getting something back. Okay, so I hope it's understandable, and there's some formulas here that learns about compound. Okay, and in fact, engineering economics, we have a pure engineering economics sense. We have a booklet which is like your SPM, that red book that you have that have all the fraction numbers, everything. What is it called again? That table thing? Yeah? Engineering economics also have that table. Let me show you to you. It's a bit small. Basically, in fact, all economic calculation, okay, all economic calculation are in this table. We're talking about single payment, uniform series payment, and arithmetic gradient. So in terms of hardcore calculation, you really don't have to punch the calculator if you have all these tables, okay? Straight away, you will read the interest here that you'll be putting up and the years of repayment and all that. And then this one here is always talking about a few things only. Future value, present value, given a present value, find future value, given a present future value, find the present value. And present value is actually, and single payment is actually dealing with single value, okay? There is a type of payment is called uniform series payment, and we're dealing with what we call annual cost. I know this may sound really out of the world all of a sudden today, but for project management, everybody is getting the knowledge of it, okay? So we need to touch and go, we need to mention all these things, and we need to tell you all the different tools and techniques and where you can find your calculation. That's it, okay? Whereby if we talk about real practices, real calculation, real hardcore, understand how to use this table and how to do it and how to calculate all these things, it belongs to the elective later on, engineering economy. So next sem, Dr. Lee will run an engineering economy class with Madam Rohaida. I'm not involved with that because my workload is a bit overpowered. So they will be doing it, but I may be coming in to give a talk or two on all these things, okay? So these are the basic that you are going through with me today. And some of you who are keen to learn more, and I do strongly suggest you to take it up, and I think it's a very good subject to do, and it's a very useful subject to do. So this economic table is based on, at the corner of this table here, you will see interest starting from 0.1 to 0.2 all the way to 10, 20, 13, 14, 15, 17, 18, 19, etc., etc. And here, everything that you need to calculate, so as long as you have your interest and you have the numbers of years of repayment, it can be 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, you can straight away read from this table the factor that is needed, and then you just direct straight away with the sum of money that you are putting in as an initial sum. Okay, so uniform series basically is saying that we look at project in terms of the annual cost, in terms of annual benefit and annual cost. So anything that is whole year, like maintenance per year, because a lot of things comes in per year, because it comes every year. Like capital can outflow yearly. Okay, you can put in 500,000 every year. So that becomes a uniform series. But if it's a single payment, my capital is 2 million this year, 2 million next year. Then that is a single payment. So these are looking at all these single payment and uniform series. Uniform series deal with annual. So from here, you will see that, there will be like find the annual sum given the future sum. Find the annual sum given the present sum. Find the future sum given the annual sum. Find a present sum given the annual sum. So the questions always revolve in something being given to you and you need to do the calculation. So let me show you some of the, see here. So let's say if there's any question here. Okay, if you don't have that table at all, you will look at these two cash flow and you need to calculate using the formula. And the formula is what we call a discount factor. It's present worth. So anything that is in the future needs to be bring back to today's dollar. We call it a discounting factor. And this discounting factor, this is the compound interest. So this is the future sum. This is the present sum. So can you see this formula? Everything is based on this formula. I is the interest, N is that particular table that we are looking at. In fact, calculate this big, the I plus 1 plus I to the power of N. It has been given all calculated to you in all different scenarios. And you're either given a P. So I put in 100 ringgit this year to the bank, okay? And my interest is 5%. How much would it be in 10 years' time? Your end will be 10. So then you're looking for an S. With economic question, most of my students everywhere that I've taught before, their issues is trying to read the questions and really need to define what is the thing that they're looking for and what is the thing that is being given to them, the information. And this is the hardest bit. A lot of them don't know how to tapis those information and therefore answer in a rubbish way. Okay? So if I want to look for a future sum, this thing here, if it's a small numbers, you can use your electronic calculator. You know, your calculator to calculate. It's not difficult. Okay, if we play with the calculator a lot. Yeah, but if let's say no, you can look at the economic table that I've shown you, and this one will be given all here. So this one will be single. If any questions that deal with per year, it's just like me saying that I put in 100 ringgit per year for the next 10 years. How much would the money be in 10 years' time? So that is you're dealing with annual series. So you need to go and look at the middle table here, this bit here, these four things here. You will need to find your answer here in these four things. But if I say that I put in 100 ringgit 10 years time, how much would it be? That is only a single payment. And then you're looking at this two column here. This two column deals with arithmetic gradient. It means that there will be a change. It's just like I'm saying that I put 100 ringgit every year, then for 5 years, and then extra put in 5 ringgit for the next from 6 years on. You know, so the question changed a little bit. So this one here, that is the kind of questions that you will use this bit of the table. But generally, annual series, you use 4 here. Single payment, you use 2 here. Okay? And then let me go back to the notes. Okay? Right. So you see, if we talk about discounting factor, this will be your discounting factor. So if you don't have that table, what you need to do is you need to calculate your cash flow or whatever cash or benefit that you have here, 400 ringgit. The first year discounting factor, when you power things to the zero, you get 1. Okay, so it's still 400. So you take 400 times by 1 discounting factor, then 200. Now the discounting factor is this bit here. So if they are looking for future sum, okay? So future sum, how much will be 200 ringgit? 200 ringgit is a future sum, 200, okay? So they're looking for the present sum. So here, you need to take the 200 and divide by 1 plus I to the power of n. And n is 1. If your interest is 12%, is 1.12 to the power of 1. So then you calculate your discounted factor. So this one here, you have to use a table to calculate. And again, this sort of questions is very common in exam because it's not, it's the most simple kind of questions that you can get in exam for you to calculate if you have got situation A and situation B, or product A or product B, cash flow A, cash flow B, how much will be your benefit at the end of the day, or your net present value, or your profitability index. And all this can be calculated using a very simple table. And you can use Excel to do the calculation as well. So again, if you know the formula, you just key into the Excel and then you just, map it up and then you pull all your numbers down. And in exam, we won't give you more than 5 years or 6 years, okay? Because of the time limit that you have. But in real life, it can go up to 20 or even 50 years even, and the interest can change all the time as well. So that is real life. Okay, so here, you don't look at this because if you go and calculate using this sort of formulas, I think many of you will be crying in exam. And even I give you 5 hours, you also cannot finish because all these formula here are being calculated already, ladies and gentlemen. It's already been calculated already in the economic table, okay? So if we give you a question like this that needs you to calculate things like that, you look at the economic table. But if we don't give you an economic table, then you have to revert back to your own calculation table with a very simple formula here, okay? This one, okay? This is the same thing, yeah? Understand, huh? Right. So here, Mr. Kamaru wishes to give an education plan for his 5 years old son. So he allocate money 100 ringgit every month for this plan. So how much will he get when his son reaches 21? So you have to convert 21, 16 years, 16 years later. So what you need to do is, you know, like using this formula is this complicated, but if this one here, if you know that 100 every month, what is 1 year? 1 year is 1,200. So annual, your A, when you see the word every here, per, every, these are the things that will make you think about annual, okay? So convert everything to annual. 100 ringgit, 1,200 ringgit per year is your A. And then given your A, how much would it be in the future? P, okay? So with your 8.5, so what you need to do is go to your economic table, search for 8 or 8.5. If there's no 8.5, you can search for 8 and 9. And then after that, you calculate 16 years, 1/6, okay? The year will be 1/6. You look at find P given A. And that factor, you take it and you divide by 1,200, and you will get, I can guarantee you get the same thing using this formula, or you can do a table like this as well. Okay, so you can do 1,200 calculation, how much you get in 1 year, compound it, add up with 1,200, go on and on and on and on and on again for 16 years, and that could be a lot of work, okay? So either that way, the table way, the formula way, or the economic table way, all right? So this is one of our major concerns. And before I go into ROR, let's talk about how do you use this present and future value. The most popular way of calculating the net benefit or cost would be the net present value. So net present value is based on this formula, and you are looking at me. I know all of you are like, oh my God, how come Dr. Ting tell me all these things in the last day of class and I'm totally overloaded? Well, that's life, okay? Accept it. All right, so net present value is actually all your negatives. Any negative, okay, negative means money outflow, okay? All your negative as in capital. First year, your money going out is how much? When year 0, always the factor is 1, then year 2, how much outflow? Year 3, how much outflow? So this is during construction time, all right? During construction time. And then here, when you have profit coming in, you can add up all your profit, because all these are actually in future. These are going to be in future value. So let's say your project is 3 year, and for 4th year onwards, you will have revenue coming in, or 3rd year onwards, you have revenue coming in. So then when that revenue starts to come in, this is money coming in, the most important thing is just get your negative and positive right, like what is in, what is out, okay? So then after that, you can get your revenue. So your revenue, you need to, is a future value, because future value, if I say that I'm going to earn $10 million from year 4 onwards, but $10 million in today's dollar, the value is different. So you need to convert it back and discount it back to today's dollar. And that is how you do it. So using the formula again, like I say, go to your economic table, or go to your table, or just simply use the formula and punch the calculator. It's so easy. If I say I'm going to be earning 5 million, my revenue, my net revenue is 5 million. 5 million divided by 1 plus I. I is the interest that is being given to you, 8.5, 9, 10, and earn on the 4th year, then this is 4. Just punch your calculator and you get it for year 4. Year 5, I'm going to earn 3 million because I've got operation and maintenance. So, okay, after all the net calculation, I'm only earning 3 million. So 3 million divided by 1 plus I, and I is, again, your interest that is given 10, let's say. M is going to be 5. Fifth year, 5, okay? So add up, and recovery cost, CR is recovery cost. Nothing will end up to be 0. The concept of depreciation tells you that everything will be dust at the end of the day. But Actually, no, okay? So you have to see that maybe 20 years later, there is going to be a recovery value, and that recovery value is also a positive. So even your car, you drive for 20 years, your Hong Kong Saga or whatever. So even if you drive, unless you drive it into the Sarawak River and drown it completely, otherwise you will sell it to the scrapyard and you get 500 ringgit back. That is your recovery value. Okay. So if you do drive it to the Sarawak River, you probably be penalized and your recovery value will become negative. Okay. So by all means, you need to think about that. So any project, any comparison between two different projects or two different options, the larger MPV, of course, will be better because more positive, the better. So the concept is larger MPV will be preferred. Okay. And this is how you can actually calculate as well using the table. So this is your MPV or using formulas. So all these are being given to you, examples and all that. Okay. And this is one way of calculation. And the other thing is you have to, there's another formula that you need to, okay, payback. Payback looks at the year. So meaning that all your negative add up. This is the formula, okay, payback. The smaller payback, the better. So if you have like all your capital investment, divide by your average annual cash flow. So this divide by this, so you get whatever number, okay, your whatever number is. So this is 5 years, this is 4 years. So when you're going to get the return of your money. So payback is also one of the very important calculation that you do, that you may be asked to do. Profitability index is a present value of all the future benefit over the initial investment. Larger PI better. Okay, larger PI better. So all your future benefit, if there's any positive, you all bring it back to today's dollar, sum it up, divide by the initial investment, also in today's dollar, and you compare the PI of project A to PI of project B or product A and product B or product A, B, C also can. So these are profitability index. And these are the three areas. And the other one is the cost-benefit ratio. Cost-benefit ratio is cost over benefit or benefit cost ratio. So benefit cost ratio, BCR. BCR is benefit, all the future benefit divided by all the future costs. Okay. Of course, the larger number, the better. Okay. So these are the things that for you doing revision, make sure that you understand what is preferable. Okay, what is preferable? You may be given two options. You may be given two options. Okay, and in these two options, you may be asked to calculate MPV and PI. So then after your calculation, you need to tell the examiner or the audience or your client which option is better. So MPV larger better, PI larger better, payback period smaller better, BCR larger better. So from that calculation is a number proving to everybody which of the option is actually economically more rational because the benefit is actually more than the cost. This is what we call economic tools. And these 4 economics tools are just basically the basic. Okay, basically very, very basic. Okay, very basic. Any questions? Okay. So the next concept, yes, there's the next concept. And the next concept deals with Okay, very quickly, the second concept is depreciation. So everything will depreciate in value. So whatever machine that you buy or whatever that investment that you put, you will expect some depreciation. It is straight line depreciation, declining balance depreciation, and unit of production kind of depreciation. And this sort of depreciation will be actually this is basically the value of it is decreasing, and most of this will be used in terms of taxation purposes. Okay, so after 1 year, if it's a straight value, you calculate it which way, and then if it's declining value, so you're basing it on the next decline value of your products. Nothing too much here, okay? So this is a concept to tell you that you need to be aware of depreciation. I'm more concerned about this one here. This is about rate of interest, okay? Right. So when there is in any project when the return of the profit or the benefit should exceed the cost. But there will always be a point where everything is a balance, meaning that there will be a striking balance between the profit and also the cost. And that is where your NPV becomes zero. Okay? So every project will have an interest, and that interest is what we call a rate of return. Okay, so rate of return for 8%. If you have a rate of return of 8%, if you have a return of 3%, 1%, 2%, any rate of return, we want to make sure that that rate of return will make money, meaning that the benefit will actually exceed the cost. So whenever your NPV is zero, it's the break-even point. And that break-even point is what we call the IRR, internal rate of return. So IRR needs to be calculated for every project to see what is the IRR. So when you have a string of benefit and when you have a string of costs, you can actually use a graph like this to calculate when NPV is zero. Okay. If you want to draw a formula and calculate NPV equals to zero, you could use this formula, the NPV formula, and you set this as zero. So then everything you have this, and you've got all this, but you don't have an I. And I needs to be iterated. Okay, so sometimes you can do that in Excel. You can use a formula to use it in Excel to iterate it. So when you have then they calculate I. So every project will have their own I. So every project will have their own IRR. Okay. So of course, projects that have a better IRR, better interest, okay, will be more will be more beneficial. Okay. So we need to there's a concept here. IRR. Okay. This is the calculation for IRR. IOR, is ROR, rate of return. But honestly, I do not want you to handle all this formula. So the best way is to use graph if you need to, okay? So rate of return describes the interest that you will receive from investment of capital. The term also used to describe the value of investment made on projects, plants, and equipment. ROR is a very important tool to evaluate the potential of a project. If the acceptable ROR is not realized, so can you imagine if you calculate NPV equals to zero and your IRR is actually 5%, but your ROR, the interest for this project is only 4%. That means this project cannot go already. It's only better than that IRR. Your ROR is better than your IRR. The interest is 8%, 9%, 10%. Then this project is worth it. Okay. It's just that when you're comparing investment over investment, when you're putting money in the money market, doing foreign exchange, it may give you a return of 10%. But if you put it in the bank, it's 3%. So anything that is better than the bank, you go for it. Same concept. Anything that is better than the NPV equals to zero IRR, this is the project that is moving. Okay, so this is what I've got for you. Like I said, these are all very conceptual, very conceptual, and we do have some examples inside here, which I hope that you can go through. And the practice class that I'll post up for you later by the week also will have some questions here. And there are also some questions at the back here that you can actually try out. Here and some video here. This is a very good set of notes to explain all the economics tools, which is talking about present value, annual cost, and ROR. These three things, and depreciation, these four concepts that you need to grasp hold of. Okay? Right, so it's also explained here. Okay, different values. Okay, the formulas are all here as well, and if it's not written here, you can CBR is all written in this set of notes. So this set of notes on week 14, hour 3 and 4 will complement by this set of notes with a lot of examples inside here. Okay? Again, I'm sorry to say that this is a bit of a touch and go. This is for everybody to understand, every one of you to understand, because engineering economics is not something that every engineer will deal with. They are always happening for engineers who are in more of planning and government state planning unit, and also some agency engineers like the IB water board and all that, and some private developer, but not so much as well. Okay, so again, if you are more into construction, your job is more into construction, building, and all that, you may not touch this sort of things. So that's why the essential things that we have gone through, like in the first 5 week 3 to week 13, like that, these are the basic, these are the most important thing that almost every engineer has to deal with. Risk management, economy, and all this. Maybe I would say 30% of you will be dealing with these sort of things. Okay, and of course, if it's too high level, you will probably end up having an economics on the team as well, and or business finance person on the team as well to be in charge of this if the project is really big. Okay, so that's why I did not actually put in like a lot of like, I didn't go through this with you like for 2 weeks. If I have the time, I would love to have another week with you on this topic of engineering economics, because I myself find it very interesting. Okay? Very interesting. So these are just to cover the grounds for everybody. So when you hear all the terms, net present value, IRR, or ROR, depreciation, all these things, you actually have a concept in your head, and you do know how to do the simple calculation that will come with it. Okay, and if most of you who are really seriously interested in this topic, do take up the engineering economy elective next semester. You're most welcome to do it, and I would have loved to come in and give you some ideas of how to do the calculation and how to use the economic table as well. Okay, right, I think that's all from me for today, and I will put up all these notes later by the end of the week. Any questions so far? I will stop sharing the screen for now and go to talk about the exam tips, okay? Anyone have anything to say? No? Okay, right. Examination. Exam tips. Okay, examination will be actually. Let me have a look at my exam paper. Make sure that I stop sharing my screen. I forgot what kind of questions I got in the exam. Just give me. Okay, I don't remember how many hours I've given you. It's going to be a take-home exam. You will start at 9 o'clock and basically finish in 6 hours, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, I think it should be 6 hours. I should be giving you 6 hours. Okay? So 6 hours, no doubt, the questions, I'll put it up around 8:50, more or less 8:50, for everybody to start downloading. And you have about 10-20 minutes to finish your downloading. After that, you don't need to on your camera. There's no feedbacks going on with me. And you just proceed to do your examination. Do type it up in Word file, okay? And you can hand it in PDF file or Word file. I prefer PDF because PDF is is less subjected to me touching anything in your exam, like scrolling and all that. So again, I prefer PDF. So just save everything to PDF, and with your student number at the beginning, okay, and dash KNS4713 project management. Okay, so that is how you should be saving. Save it according to your student number. Don't get your student number wrong, okay? And fill up the integrity form, which everybody should have by now, and make that part of your paper as well, your submission paper. And all the papers should be typed out in form 12, 1.5 spacing, for me to read better. And any diagram that you have, you can actually scan it and copy and paste it into the exam final paper. Don't hang in multiple files. Like I say, some of you may be a bit rushed, so you may take out your camera and do a nice shot on the calculation, especially that you do hang. That is fine, but take a clear, nice shot and copy and paste that as a picture and put it nicely up in the page. And later on, if you save it in PDF, there's less chance for it to be moved at all, okay? And that's how you should do it. And I prefer everything in one file, okay? And every question that you answer in words, and if it's written one, please do so in typing. So I don't appreciate writing. Writing is only for diagrams that you draw or calculation that you do. That one I don't mind that you have it in writing. Okay, and if some of you are using calculation that you have another file, what you can do is like Excel. If you do it in Excel, then what you can do is you can highlight the area, copy it as picture, copy it and paste as picture into your Word file as well. So, and then later on inside there, you just make sure that you pull it nicely and do your formatting nicely, format table behind the words or whatever. yeah, no framing or whatever, then it's very clearly cut. So, okay, so this is how I'm looking at the format. Right, in terms of questions, hello, any questions? So, okay, before I go into the questions, so by about the 5th hour, we start at 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 1, 2. At around 1:45, around 1:15, 1 o'clock onwards is submission time. I truly ask you all to just submit as soon as possible, because when you submit at 1:50, many people will be submitting at the same time. And that is why many of you have an issue with online, because there's 150 of you submitting paper at the same time. So if you can finish early, by only submit early, okay? And none of you should be waiting and waiting and waiting to do the submission at 1:50, at 1:55, at 1:59, okay? I will give a bit of extra time for submission. So your submission should start at 1:15 and finish, everybody, I will put it at 2:15 as submission, okay? I do not entertain anybody who is coming to tell me that your submission cannot be uploaded, okay? And when I check your uploading time, it's actually at 2:11, okay? Anybody who is doing submission from 1:55 to 2:15, okay? I do not give leeway for this. If you have been trying to submit since 1:45, continue submission, and you could not manage to submit at 2:15, write to me, email me, and I can give you a leeway. So I hope this is not going to happen, but honestly, I've got so many students submitting things really late, like really, really late. And how do you expect to submit your whole thing, upload everything in terms of 2 or 3 minutes? You know, don't bet on it. So don't go online. I give you until 2:15. You go and do submission at 1:11. Okay? If you do submission at 2:10, 2:11, it gets through, that's fine. But if it doesn't get through, then you're gonna be in trouble. Okay? Right. The file format should be matrix number, yes. Your matrix number, and then dash KNS4713. Yes, so this is how you should be drafting your submission. And I say I prefer PDF file, one file, okay? Diagram, everything, diagram, calculation can be diagram and calculation can be handwritten, but it must be digitalized. Meaning that you have to take a picture or scan or whatever and put it in the files together. I will give maximum 2 file submission. So if you really no choice, not enough time, or whatever reason that you cannot copy the file into your the diagram and calculation into the main file, at least compile it into 1 file and do another submission. So the maximum submission of files I allow is 2. Okay, 2 files. But again, I prefer everything in 1 file. All right. So this is how we are drafting it. The submission time is 1:15 onwards to 2:15. Your exam ends at 2 p.m. In fact, with the number of questions, everything, the time given, you are expected to finish your exam within 5 hours, 5.5 maximum. All right. So this is your timing. Don't use full 6 hours. You have to take up at least half an hour or so for submission purpose. All right. As for questions, there will be 7 questions. I know you're screaming. Okay. There will be 7 questions in the exam, and it's going to be happening on the 2nd of February. Have you seen your timetable yet? Have you seen your timetable yet? Can anybody answer me?
Doctor.
Is it 2nd of February
Yes.
for PM exam? So
Second.
that will be second, huh? Second is a Tuesday, Hari Selasa, 2nd February. Because last semester, I have somebody finishing exam at 9 p.m. and they call me up at 8 o'clock and tell me that they forgot that the exam is today. And begged me and Dr. Leonard so badly, crying over the phone already, trying to get us to give him more time. We can't. If you fly off in a plane, the plane door closed already, you cannot ask the plane to open the door. If the plane is on the runway already, you cannot ask the plane to come back. It's the fact, okay? There's nothing we can do if you forgot about exam day and exam date. Okay? So you basically will have, okay, let me see the that's up in my hair. It's one of the worst case that we have seen before. Forgot exam day, got that exam is tomorrow. Got the day wrong or got the date wrong, I think, something like that. So please don't be so amazing. I mean, that sort of amazement, I don't think I want to take that. All right, so there will be 7 questions divided into A, B, C. Many A's, many B's, many C's, okay? And a lot of them requires writing. So question 1 will be revolving around the first few lecture. What is a project? What are the project life cycle? What are the major phases in the project life cycle? Describe the project life cycle and the intensity. Describe the activities in the project life cycle. Those are more on the basic questions that we're having. Don't get that confused with management control control cycle. These 2 things are very different. Okay, and management control cycle is management control cycle. Life cycle is life cycle. So get the 2 right when you ask questions like that. Okay, and then slowly the questions will go into cost and time management. With time management, you need to learn your critical path analysis. There will be a diagram, there will be a table given. It's going to be EBN. And you need to draw your own network and calculate early start, early finish, late start, late finish, and critical path. Right? For cost kind of questions, you need to worry about budget estimates, different type of estimates, more or less what you have seen in the test the other day. And then you will also have to do a cost, with your IDP assignment in your head, maybe, prepare that and do your work breakdown analysis. Explain why work breakdown analysis is very important. Do a detailed estimate, split up into machinery, costs, and all that, different resources. Do a simple one, very, very simple one. You don't have to do a full project. You can do like a work breakdown for 3 or 4 activities, 3 or 4 major activities, and calculate your estimates your costs needed, do the detailed estimates with your resources and all that. So, but like I said, revise with your IDP in your head, these are the questions. And then you need to calculate, you need to learn to calculate your SV and CV. These are all calculation questions. For cost, a lot of calculation questions. For time, also calculation questions. Okay, and then question number, the other questions, so we've dealt with 3 questions already. For the 4th questions will deal with quality. What is quality management? What is QA/QC? What is the concept of TQM? Why is it important to have quality culture and TQM? Very theoretical questions. Are we clear? Okay. Then we're going to have a question on procurement. What type of procurement method available in the Malaysian construction industry? What is their advantages, disadvantages? Something like what I've got you guys to revise. You may be asked 2 types of tendering method, 2 types of procurement method, 2 types of contracting method. So revise that carefully. Just revise 2 types if you're dying, okay? If you're really muddy already, at least revise 2 types. 2 types of procurement method, 2 types of tendering method, 2 types of contracting method, 2 types of procurement method. Are we clear? Okay? All the procedures and advantages. These are theoretical questions. Open book exam, you need to revise and do your practice very well. If I were you, I would type out all my practice class questions in the that I've given you. If something like that comes out in the exam, you can straight away copy and paste. Okay, you straight away copy and paste. If you are hardworking and intelligent enough to think about this, all the practice class questions which I've given you about maybe 40 or 50 questions, pick some of them to do or do everything, type all of them out. You know, do all your research already when doing your revision. And then when you see the exam question, if the question so happens to be what you already revised, go ahead and copy and paste your answer over, but improve it, make it better. Okay? Right, so this is on procurement. And following procurement, we've also got to give you questions on contract administration. And contract administration, you have to learn all the issues like instructions, VOs, discrepancies, claim, EOT. So these are the few major elements that you will see and what each party is supposed to be doing if this situation crop up. And also dispute resolution questions, whereby you need to learn about litigation and arbitration. I'll give you enough tips. This is already very specific. Okay, and yeah. So from there, we're done with all our procurement, legal dispute kind of things. Okay. Then you have another questions, which is the 6 questions here, which is going to be on risk management. Whatever risk management tips I've given you, refer back to the recording that I've already been talking to you about. What is risk category? What is risky event? Don't get that mixed up. Do a risk analysis. That is so important. Okay. And then last questions will be on engineering economics. Okay. Economic appraisal. Doing MPV, profitability index calculation. Another calculation question. Project A, project B, do the comparison. Okay, so these are the mapping of the questions. So start from very initial stage, we're going to talk to you about project life cycle, what is a project life cycle, management control life cycle, followed by time, cost, quality. You've got 3 questions here that's revolving around that. And then you've got procurement questions, all the procurement type, contracting type, and all that, and moving into contract administration, and then moving into dispute resolution, moving into risk, and moving into engineering economics. Basically, the questions are all there, not in the order that I put up to you, but in the order of the lecture. You can go through it week 1 to week 14. It's all there. And like I say, I will give out you a practice class questions to give you a feel of what the question will look like. And all the question inside there, you may see in exam. So if I were you, listen to my tips carefully again and go and look at the practice class question. If you don't have the time, try out, you can then mark a few questions to try in each category and do it in Word format. Type it out first, do all your research first, put it in first, and then get it ready for exam. That is open book exam. Okay, this is open book exam. All your notes should be ready, all tapped up properly. Where is what? Where is your life cycle notes? Where is your procurement notes? All arranged nicely according to the topics. Put it in front of you or put it in the folder in the computer. So when you see the questions, you straight away go to the relevant folder, relevant file, relevant notes in front of you and the practice class and all that. I don't see a reason why you should fail. Okay? That is my tips. Already a lot of tips, a lot of tips, more than what is required. Okay? Or 9 to 15 p.m. So that would be, that would be 6 hours. So you should be starting to upload at 2:15 and then and 2:15 submission time starts and submission time 3:15. Exam ended officially at 3 p.m. and upload everything back to Ellipse. And like I say, I do not want to give myself headache asking you to do turning in. So no need to do turning in, just hand in to me whatever you have. I already have enough of heart attack from all of you anyway, so I don't need more, right? All right, so think about it now. I will go to your QR and you all do the QR code while trying to digest whatever I've said to you.
Someone asked, do we have to provide reference list?
Yes, reference list, correct. You have to, yeah. Do all your referencing carefully. I will look at it, okay? I will give marks for it as well. You see, all the copy and paste are from different sources. Please refer to them properly, okay? And like I said, I don't need you to turn it in, but I do need you to do proper references. That is the integrity as a student, as an engineering student, that you should have actually, whether it's now or in the future, both. That you know, after doing universities, you should be able to give credit to other people's work and not take it and say it's your work. All right, Civil 1, go ahead and start punching in. Sorry, I haven't do my sharing screen. I wonder, it's so clean. Any questions? All right, go ahead, group two.
Lagi scan tak? Attendant.
Okay, Super 3. Okay. NRR. Okay, NRR people. It's too bad that I never really get to be with you all. This your batch like at all physically. Yeah, since Constat until now we have been having MCO. So I've never actually met you guys formally actually. So I hope you have actually enjoyed project management. I know it's a very difficult, to some people it's a very difficult subject. Some people may not find it difficult because you have interest in it. But I do hope that everybody will do well in the sense now. Right, let me go through the whole QR again. To move this thing away. Silver one, anyone else wants to punch? Those that is doing manual, wait a little while. Right. Silver two. Silver two calling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9, 10 and a half. Bye-bye. Symbol 3. Right, symbol 3. Okay. NRR knowledge. Okay, now let's go for the QR manual. Symbol 3, anybody needs QR? Needs manual. Symbol 3.
Doctor.
Yes. Ashring, is it?
Ashikin, Doctor.
Ash. Okay.
Thank you, Doctor.
Anyone else? Dennis, Todo, Hamina, Maza, Musa, Jamila. Not here today. Group 2, calling group 2. Anybody needs manual? Group 2, anybody needs manual attendance? Group 1, no. I suppose no. Okay, I think that's all. That's all for today, actually. It's last class for the semester from me. Okay, let me unshare my screen. Share my screen. Okay, right. Any more questions, ladies and gentlemen? Yeah. So I'll let you see me before we go. Don't miss me too much, okay? Right. Reference list, I've answered that already. Yes, you do have to provide a reference list and, as referred to and all that, okay? Any other questions? If no, you can start to leave the room. Okay, bye-bye, everybody. Good luck, all the best. I'll see you again in ethics next time.
Thank you, Doctor.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Have a nice day too. All the best. Okay. Remember, exam on the 2nd, not 12. Exam is at 9 o'clock, not 3 o'clock. You know? Second Tuesday should be very easy to remember. Okay. Right. All the best. I hope don't see you all in project management again. Jangan jumpa lagi the same course. Thank you, Alvin. So I'll stop the recording now. So you all refer to the recording that I'll upload later. All the exam tips are also here.